What is up, guys? Give me the video game scientist from VG Bootcamp here with my brothers John, aka JDL4, and Matthew, aka Apostle. Now, all of us are here, but the big brain behind the entire filmmaking process, since he was 11 and we were 7 and 8, was John. He forced us to do it, and he actually remastered and had a lot of VFX shots. So I guess I'm just gonna throw it over to you and let you talk about it.
All right, Calvin, I'll ask you a couple specific questions.
Okay.
So what was it like playing every single zombie in the movie?
I can't remember that. I just remember because it was my only role, even though I was chewing gum and being lazy, obviously, that I was putting my all into it to act out the deaths, and I was trying to make each one original. I was changing my clothes in between. Cause all I did, I was just sitting in my room, waiting for the next pair of clothes to be needed.
That was a lot of fun.
We just put actual detail into it. We tried, because we just took ourselves really seriously.
That helps me segue into the next question, though. So, why were you chewing so much gum throughout the movie?
I just remember I loved chewing gum as a kid, and if I got it, I would chew the whole pack within a couple hours. It was just a bad habit.
Is that why there was a couple of shots where you had a big ass wad?
Yeah, I think
in your
that was
mouth?
Big League Chew. I think I was, because I always bought it because it gave you the most gum. It wasn't about the flavor. I just wanted to chew on it as long as possible. So yeah, that was pretty unprofessional, I must say, as an actor. It takes the falls very seriously.
You played so many roles. You deserve it.
Yeah.
That's just a zombie who was chewing gum when he got bit. That's all.
And
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I mean, you think a zombie would spit it out? Nah, they'd just be like, still chewing it.
True. I think that even though my line was so quiet, you had to replace it with a dub, and I didn't write it. I think I have one of the longest written lines in the entire.
Yeah. Here, I'll just play that real quick.
Freeze! You are not taking that valuable, precious information.
What? What are they gonna do?
Freeze! Ah! Ah!
That showed him. The heck?
Umbrella.
One thing.
Yeah.
I may have failed you as an agent, but I will not fail you as a monster.
Not just that, the whole other scene just happened, right? Where you shot.
It was a cut.
Right.
There was a cut.
No, there was.
You were like, I'm gonna shoot the gun out of your hand, and then I'm gonna shoot the cartridges out of your hand.
The delayed
The
timing.
aim on
You're
that.
still chewing. He's like, "Arr."
The aim was pretty good. I liked
It
it.
was pretty good.
The heck?
Yeah, so you had to say the line, Umbrella, I may have failed you as an agent, but I won't fail you as a monster.
Was that a real
was
cut,
just
or
a
was that
little
his
too
cut?
quiet.
Umbrella.
It was.
I cut out a little bit of time. It was too long. Like you taking off your whole shirt.
Okay.
As a monster.
I like the drinking, almost throwing it up.
Yeah. I directed, I was like, just have fun with it. And there's food dye coloring, food coloring on
Yeah.
your chest. We actually put a couple bullet holes using food coloring.
That was
Right
how
there.
we did everything.
That was a mixture of practical effects.
Yeah.
And
So you
which
can
were
see-
made to match the real. The special effects look like they were made to match the practical effects really well.
Yeah. And I got lucky because I zoomed in when you backed into the light. So I only had to do the transformation for a 1 second portion of it, which made it a little bit easier.
Oh, because I was black the whole.
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
time.
So you can see typical Resident Evil veins appearing, but then you go into
The
shade.
overexposure. It was
Yeah,
just,
it auto
ridiculous.
exposes, so I was like, sweet, I don't have to add VFX there. And then you're just like, I'm out. I'm
The
out.
way he ran away in stride.
But yeah, that was classic.
So when you decided to make this, the remake with all the VFX shots and stuff, what was the hardest part of it?
Well, I think the hardest part of the process was adding the visual effects in After Effects. because there was a lot of scenes that were just so complicated with stuff in the foreground and the background, and even though that was the hardest part, it was a lot easier than doing it in HD because VHS quality is a lot more forgiving. I could blur the edges of a lot of stuff and you wouldn't even notice.
Oh.
So that was the hardest part of the process, was the visual effects, for sure.
What was the hardest shot?
This shot right here was the hardest shot. It originally was a 30-second shot, and I wanted to do the whole thing, but I had to cut it. Not this shot, the one after this.
Okay.
So this is the hardest shot right here. And all that stuff in the background before I walk in wasn't that hard, but me walking in front of it, it was a nightmare.
Because you had to cut out each shot.
Because each frame had to be rotoscoped, and if you look at it, you can see there's still mistakes that weren't 100% perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked in front of Bud editing this, and I saw this shot so many times on your screen when I walked past you editing this.
Yeah.
So like I know for 100% you're telling the truth. On
I
this.
think this was a 3 or 4 day
Yeah.
one.
I just because every time I'd see you working on it before, you'd be at a different spot, and this was the only time where it was like the same exact spot over and over. So I was like,
Yeah, and it was this part, and it was
more
supposed to be we
zombies kept appearing.
found guns. That's what it was. We were finding guns on the front porch, which apparently we didn't find at night when we first ransacked the building. Or
this just shows that we just got a new
And
gun.
then it was like-
and we didn't feel like figuring out how
yeah,
to
and
do
so
it.
once again, I get the new gun, and what do? I immediately hand you the old gun. So
Wait.
this handoff right here was actually hard too, and I had to add some VHS glitch just to like cover up some of the unnecessary rotoscoping I didn't feel like doing.
Oh, okay.
And then this part, I'm just like, I don't know. I put this zombie in front there. I look more closer to how I am now in that still frame for some reason. Oh, there we go. So like, yeah. So
Because you shot at something?
because I was aiming at something, I just added this foreground zombie.
Oh yeah, that's smart.
And then at the end of the film, he reappears. So it's continuity. It's the same zombie. He was still milling around there, as well as that crawling zombie that was on the left.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So, anyway, that was the hardest one, but like for all the other VFX shots, once you'll notice they get better as it goes. But doing each scene that had a zombie being shot and dying or a head exploding, whatever, had to have, especially in the later part of the film where you're a different color, because apparently now the laboratory zombies have a hue to them, had a skin colored overlay for every section of your body that was exposed from your clothes. So it had to have an arm, other arm, head. There was a muzzle flash, a bullet shot, blood explosion, and in some of them there's like, the flamethrower and the fire, and for the monster ones there was motion tracked, rotoscoped, like color for your skin while you're moving when you're the red claw zombie. So there was a lot of like frame by frame stuff I did. And so when it got to the point where I was like 4 or 5 effects shots deep and I realized what I was like getting myself into, I think that's when I told you, I was like, man, this is gonna take forever. And then we were just like, it was like the end of April, and it's like, well, I don't think we're gonna be doing anything for a while. So F it.
Let's do it.
Let's just make something that can be enjoyed by people, hopefully, and try to make it as good as possible while preserving the look that it was made by kids. But yeah, I think what I'm most impressed with from like just a filmmaker standpoint is as kids we were able to do a pretty decent job telling a story, but in the remastered version, the soundscape that's given to this, if you really listen to it loud and just take it all in, there was a lot of work put into the audio
I liked
and
it.
the soundtrack.
I think it helped a lot.
I've gotten a lot of compliments on that from some of my filmmaker friends.
The only part that I feel like there was a slight clash,
Mhm.
there was like one small part, was when you had very eerie music playing over your in-person clothes changing music. That was the only
Right.
part where I was like, you kind of have no choice here because
Right,
what are
yeah.
you gonna just play the original audio only?
That's what I was thinking.
Hey, Leon, Yeah? I think the heat in this place has gotten haywire. Don't you think we should change something to a little, okay. Do. Bow. Nice outfit. Thanks.
So I think my thought process on that was like, I'll just keep the tone of the music going, but just let the tongue-in-cheek humor of a little kid being stupid play over top it. Instead of just muting my audio, I was like, otherwise it would be a visual clothing change with creepy music. It would look weird, and because I wanted it, so like I was like, all right, let's just leave that in because you know, it was a funny little kid moment.
Resident Evil Child.